Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're diving into something a little different, but also really exciting. It's also not Shadowfax's forte. I'm talking about the hunter class for miniature horses. If you've ever wondered how our tiny equine friends can jump their way into the show ring without a rider on their back, then this is the video for you. Now, when most people hear the term hunter class, they think of the full-size horses under saddle, and I don't blame them. Cantering through the courses with a rider, clearing fences in a graceful arc, that's fair. I know that most people are not aware that miniature horses also have a hunter class, because that's how it works in traditional English hunter competitions. You get on your horse and you ride the course. But we're talking about miniature horses. And when we're talking about miniatures, things are obviously going to be very different because they are very different than their full-sized counterparts. Obviously, adults are not going to be riding these pint-sized athletes. So instead, the handler runs alongside the horse as they navigate the course, showing off their form, movement, and jumping ability. All without a saddle, all without a rider. They are on a halter and lead. Now, this takes a whole lot of cuteness and a whole lot of skill. So let's talk about how it works. In miniature horse shows, the hunter class is one of the jumping events, and it emphasizes form over fences. It's not just about the height, not just about the speed. The horses are judged on their way of going, their form over each jump, and how they handle the overall course. It's about grace and athleticism, not just about clearing the obstacle. And unlike jumping classes where speed is a factor, like the jumping class, which we're going to cover in the next video, but hunter class is really all about smoothness and rhythm and the correct form. That's what you primarily get judged on. That means that the judges are looking for a consistent gait, so consistent movement throughout the course. Either a trot or a canter is acceptable. They're looking for good form when the horse jumps. So you want your knees tucked, a nice arc through the body, good balance. And they want a smooth and flowing performance from start to finish. Okay? A typical hunter course for miniature horses contains between 6 and 8 jumps, depending on the event. And each jump is usually between 18 and 24 inches high. So they're not even that high. Okay? They're designed to showcase the horse's form, not to challenge how high your horse can jump. That might not sound like much at all, that height, 18 inches, until you realize that someone like Shadowfax, it's not that high. I will admit, 18 inches is not that high. However, think about it for a minute. 18 inches, he's 28 inches at the shoulder. It's only 10 inches shorter than him. He would have no trouble clearing it. But it's not about the height of the jumps, okay? So even though we're saying 18 inches isn't very high because it's actually quite low, you can step over them. In most cases, a human has no trouble stepping over these jumps. It's not about the height of the jumps, okay? It's about their form, their expression, how composed they are, and how composed you are. But in a lot of cases, horses are jumping nearly their own height. So if it's a 24-inch jump and he's a 28-inch pony, it's only 4 inches shorter than his withers. They still don't have trouble clearing it. It's not that high, okay? And these jumps are spaced out in a way that gives the horses room to maintain their speed and their rhythm and their momentum. And the entire course is designed to challenge their coordination and training, because that's what it's about. It's about their form, their coordination, their movement. Handlers run alongside the horse, guiding them through the course with subtle cues, with voice commands, and a lot of pre-show training. You don't just show up and start jumping, okay? And he's not a jumper. I mean, could he? Yeah, he can make those jumps. Is he gonna? No. He's not gonna compete in that. His class would be Liberty, not Hunter. He's more a Liberty dude. Anyway, moving on. Yes, we know you're not good at everything, buddy. Anyway, one thing about the hunter class is that the horse must maintain a consistent gait, a consistent movement. Okay, that means if your horse starts at a trot, they should stay at a trot throughout the course. If they break into a canter halfway through, or they start weaving and stalling between jumps, that is going to cost them points. It's about consistency, okay? It's about not stopping and starting, not going faster, going slower. It's about having one consistent speed, one consistent movement. Consistency is key in hunter classes. And it doesn't end when the last jump is cleared. A lot of people think it does, and then they lose points. It doesn't. At the conclusion of the class, all the horses are asked to trot past the judges so they can evaluate soundness. This is basically a soundness check to make sure the horse isn't lame, sore, or have an uneven gait. If a horse appears lame or unsound, even if they competed the course, they're likely to be disqualified. Okay? So don't even bother taking your horse out there if they're lame or unsound. Okay? I mean that. Now, you shouldn't do it anyway because it's not good for the horse. If your horse is lame for whatever reason, he should skip that event. But there's no point in pushing him anyway, because if he's not going to pass that final trot past the judges, if he's going to get disqualified, why bother? Okay, so if there's any lameness, he's going to be disqualified anyway. Don't bother. And it's not good for the horse, so don't. Now, remember that even though this is a show class, it really emphasizes the health and well-being of the horse. Judges don't want a flashy jumper. They want to see an animal that's fit, healthy, well-conditioned, well-trained, and not lame. So make sure you meet those requirements. Now let's talk about appearance, because presentation does matter in the hunter ring. You might think it's all about, let's just move nice and look good, and it is, but looking good means looking the part. So miniature horses shown in hunter are typically turned out in either Western or English style. Not a bridle, not a saddle, okay? So they're usually just a halter. You don't need a bridle if you're not riding him, and he definitely doesn't need a saddle. Nobody's in the saddle. You don't need one. The choice of look, so the choice whether you're English or Western, it kind of, go for what matches the horse's movement. So he's more of a Western dude. If your horse is more English, if your mini looks more English, tack them out in an English style halter. Okay, it just looks better. Many horses shown in hunter or even jumper are also braided, just like their full-size cousins in English competitions. So you might see tight little braids along the mane and forelock, and neat grooming and clean hooves. Those are important. Clean hooves are necessary even on an everyday basis. That's why his hooves look so good right now. They need to be cleaned, even if you're not going anywhere. So get your horse cleaned up. But a lot of handlers, most handlers, will even coordinate their own outfits for a professional, polished look. Now, it's worth noting that while appearance does count for something, it's not a beauty contest. The bulk of the score will be based off performance. Jump, form, consistency, fluidity, soundness, all the things we've already talked about. Okay? So, yes, how you look matters, but it's not nearly as important as how you perform. So work on your performance, and if you can't look quite as snazzy as everyone else, that's okay. Okay? The judges are looking for competency and consistency, not necessarily who's the prettiest. So that's okay. Now let's talk about training, because getting a miniature horse to confidently jump 18 to 24 inches is not really something that happens overnight. Most of them want to go around. It's like, it's not all the way blocking my way. Why wouldn't I just go around? Like, what's the point? So you do have to train them to pull this off. Training usually starts with groundwork. You want your mini to be comfortable on a lead, responsive to your voice commands, able to trot or canter on cue. And from there, start just with poles on the ground that they're going to step over. Okay? And you just lead them over those poles over and over again. Get them used to, we're not going around the obstacle, we're going over the obstacle. Then you start raising them. Small jumps. You're not going to 18 inches right away. Little jumps, just a couple inches. Okay? Slow, patient. Build up that confidence before you build up the height. So little jump. Now we're boop, boop. And a little bit higher. Boop, boop. Over and over again. Slow, confident. So what kind of horse makes a good hunter? Not all of them. Just like every other class, every horse has a different skill set. His is Liberty. He's really good at it. He is not a good hunter. Hunter horses are willing. They want to go over the jumps, not around them. He'd rather eat them? Don't ask. You want them to be consistent. They keep their gait steady. He likes to go fast, 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 rear up, slow, 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 fast, 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 rear up. That's not helpful in hunter. So they need to have a nice, consistent gait. They should also be focused. So they should listen to their handler and stay on track. That he can do. And they should be athletic, which means they can get over the jumps cleanly without knocking the rails. If you start knocking the rails down, you're going to lose the points. Don't knock the rails down, okay? And let's be real. Training for the hunter class can be an awful lot of fun. You're bonding with your horse, getting exercise yourself, and watching them develop incredible skills over time. It's an excellent way to bond. So if your horse looks like you might be a good jumper, why not give it a try, even if you only ever do it at home? You don't necessarily have to travel to a show. So hunter class is a really good choice for minis with a natural elegance, a natural form. Horses that love to jump, but are maybe not the fastest, so they're not going to set a great time. And handlers who enjoy a bit more structure and flow to their course, because hunter courses are very structured. And it's also good for anyone who wants to show off their horse's grace and training, because this class does require quite a bit of training. You don't just wake up in the morning and go, I think we'll compete in hunter. No. You have to make sure you've trained, okay? So if your horse is naturally smooth and athletic, and you're willing to put in the groundwork, this can be a rewarding event for the both of you. It's also great for kids and beginners as long as safety and good handling are both in place, because it really teaches balance and timing and coordination without the added complication of riding. It's also a fun way for your mini to get some exercise. Now, at Andersen Acres, we're all about appreciating what our animals can do. Okay, whether that's protecting the flock or giving us eggs or just being good little goats. Miniature horses might be small, but they're strong and capable, and hunter class is a fun way to showcase that. So if you've got a horse that might be good at it, think about it. You don't need a big show barn to give it a try, okay? Just a safe area, a few homemade jumps, and a mini who's eager to work. Who knows? Maybe your next 4-H show or local fair has a miniature horse hunter division just waiting for you to enter and give it a try. Okay? See if there's something close by that you don't have to travel very far to. See if you can train up your little pony. See if it's any fun for you guys. It might be. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Drop a comment below if you've ever seen a miniature horse jump, or if you're thinking about trying it with your own mini. We'll see you tomorrow.